Dude, the start to the last episode
Okay.
was fucking chaotic.
We're live.
All right.
Welcome to Newstime Public Radio. I'm joined by hosts Brooke and host
Hello.
Milo.
Hello.
Today's a very important episode, as you know. An election's going on right now. More specifically for the Newstime Mascot. I know everyone's looking at this election very closely, as Newstime Mascot is a very high up role in the Newstime agency, and I think that really is the role model for how we all should be. So, yeah,
Of course.
we'll get directly into the news, but not before we mention our sponsors for today. Brooke, would you like to take it with the sponsors?
Newstime Public Radio is brought to you by the Dwayne Nellis Foundation for Budgets. We need them. Newstime Public Radio is also brought to you by Italy.
That's the spicy meatball.
Wow.
Newstime Public Radio is partnered with the Institute for Institutes.
It's my favorite
Institutes.
Yeah. Is that it?
We'll have more later.
And people like you.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should jump right into the election coverage for the mascot. Would we like to announce the mascots in order for from Brooke and then Milo and then me?
We could do that.
Okay.
Our first mascot in the election is Rudy the Rabbit. Rudy is a sexual beast whose thirst levels rival that of Lola Bunny. Rudy is what could be described as a himbo. He will look hot, and that's about all he can do. But many people enjoy Rudy. He pulls very well in the thirsty demographic. So we will see if the horn dogs can get out the vote and get Rudy into office.
That's a very important demographic, I think, that a lot of people miss. Yep. Because I mean, they're fucking a lot, and
They're so horny.
That's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
Milo, would you like to cover the next candidate? That is
Our next candidate is Terrence, the terracotta pot. An important investor and figurehead for the gardening community. Terrence wicks away that moisture so that the plant roots are pretty good, and that's like his whole. He's doing a real grassroots campaign there.
Now I just want to ask you because there's been so much controversy around Terrence,
of course,
mainly with the his pro-fracking stances. What do you think about that?
Well, personally, I do not stand with Terrence the terracotta pot on those figures, but his aspects for free healthcare and all the other things that we need, like legalizing all the drugs, so that people can plant more pots, is very like.
I think it's a very interesting. I think it's a very interesting.
He would be an important figure for the Shrewman and Brewman community as well.
For sure.
I think it's an interesting dynamic having a pro-fucking and a pro-fracking candidate.
It gets confusing, for sure.
Yes. All right. Do you have anything else to add about Terrence?
I don't have anything other than he's pot.
All right.
And
we'll go on
who doesn't like pot?
We'll go on to the next candidate. The next candidate is Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell has decided to run to try to be the mascot of Newstime. You may know him best from American Idol or America's Got Talent, mainly for his angry British takes. He, he's kind of controversial in many ways, where he will yell at you if you sing our anthem, But that's, I think that's just part of it. I think we have to look at it because he's polling really well with Britain. Yep.
Yes.
The entire country of Britain.
Yep. Britain loves him.
Yeah.
Yep.
They can't get enough of that Simon.
Yeah, but a lot of people are scared because of his strong ties to One Direction, and how that could influence Newstime if One Direction's trying to influence our club in any way,
It's interesting.
I can say with 100% certainty that if Simon Cowell were indeed the winner of this election, we would not be bought out by Big Direction. Zayn Malik would not have any influence on our content. It would all be still funded by the listeners as well as our sponsors.
Yep. It's interesting also with the it's kind of the play between Big Direction and then also Big Erection, which is supported by
Big Erection is out here trying to sell us Viagra and get everyone hooked on Viagra, and it's become a real epidemic.
I mean, that is the biggest controversy with Rudy the Rabbit. His Viagra has donated quite a considerable sum to his campaign, and many are not happy with that, except the horn dogs, who absolutely love it.
It's really scary, all the influences that can happen in this election that's coming up for our mascot. Do we have any other candidates that I think there's a couple more? Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see if there's any more candidates. Do you have any? I know the other ones are lower down in the vote count.
Yeah,
there's down in the approval.
There is a write-in candidate who is named.
Oh,
it's a hard one to write in.
Oh, he's
many people do not know how to. Many people do not know how to spell.
Oh yeah.
Silent nod.
I think what I've heard is a lot of people are kind of confused as he hasn't really stated any ideas for to solve the issues that Newstime faces.
Yes, but there are many who feel like they can project really whatever they want onto.
I just remember when during one of the interviews with him, they asked a question about the economy of Newstime, and his response was, and I thought, that was very profound, but I would like to see a little bit more about his plans, Yes.
That's fair.
I also would like to talk about, I know this is one kind of controversial because of multiple factors, but Chef Boyardee is running to be the mascot of Newstime as well. A lot of people are concerned about this as he is a billionaire when it comes to meatballs. He's up in the billions of meatballs right now. He really holds the market share of meatballs, and a lot of people are worried if we were to give Newstime to someone who was so rich in meatballs that we might go back on our sacred values.
That's fair.
It is also fair to point out that he does have a large market share in ravioli, which could be used to counteract the meatball wealth.
Yes, that's true.
Very true.
That's very true.
And then we can't forget about his competitors in the Spaghetti-O territory.
Yeah, and specifically the scandal of a can of his falling off a shelf and following a little girl home. I think we can't forget about that one.
Yeah.
That's just unforgivable.
It's inappropriate behavior.
It really is.
And it's really a black mark on his campaign.
And she wasn't the only one. Video footage came out of it happening multiple times. So
yeah. I couldn't tell if it was just me watching the video over and over again, or if it was another one.
It was in fact another following. Yeah.
It was just identical, all of them, over millions, even if you, depending on how many times
you watched it.
Watch it, yeah. So those are I think those are the main candidates running for the Newstime mascot position.
Yep.
right now we don't really have accurate enough polling for who's going to win, but we will keep you updated. We should have the ballots in by the end of this episode, so we'll keep you updated.
Yep.
Yeah. So, should we move on to our next news story?
Absolutely.
In other news, my ass has become a new orbital planet around Earth.
Your ass?
Yeah, I did. I scientifically disconnected it and threw it into space and enlarged it to be. So now Earth has 2 moons, and one is just funnier.
Now, the polling is still coming in on the preference of the 2 moons, but I think at least 23% believe that the original moon is funnier, and those are the people who, well, they don't get comedy.
No, because now we have a whole man in the night sky rather than just a face. He's just crouched really low and just showing his ass.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Well, it's interesting as recently they found water on the moon. Yeah. I don't know.
Which one?
Well, both. Well,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Terraforming has gotten very well in my ass.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate naming, specifically with Uranus.
Yes.
That's another.
And it's actually spelled MYIAS.
My ass. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, my ass.
Yeah. You said you scientifically detached it. What is that?
I currently have no ass.
And how did how?
It's kind of sad because I can't twerk anymore. So all those TikTok trends are lost to me now.
So you would say you're out of twerk, or
yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think a lot of people are facing
I'm
that
unemployed
right now.
with twerk.
Especially with all the clubs closed right now, or some of them closing early. A lot of people are out of twerk, and it's really affecting this whole entire nation. I think I'd say
a lot of people, yes. Even like indirectly. The waves are impacting on people's lives for sure.
Yes, that's very true. I think we should, last NPR episode we talked about grass, but I think this episode
talked about grass.
Yeah, and I think about this episode we need to move up a little bit more. Maybe talk about the air. I think a lot of people's heads are just buried in the grass, to say, but the sky's the limit. I think, and I think
sky is the limit. And you know what's in the sky? Leaves.
Okay. Where?
Brooke, I brought this. I posed this question to Hunter earlier. Would you ever eat a leaf?
I suppose that I would.
Yeah. See, I'm not crazy.
What flavor leaf would you eat?
Ooh.
Maple.
You're not the only person who said maple.
Yeah.
It's got that little seed at the bottom.
It's an appealing one. I mean, why do you think they put it on Canada's flag?
Exactly.
There's an entire hockey team named after them because they are so delicious.
And little known fact, the only diet that they're allowed to eat are actually maple leaves. And it helps with the team to, stay on a strict diet.
It actually makes them faster on the ice.
Yes. And also when they throw the leaves up, it's kind of as a defensive tactic during hockey, where they'll projectile.
It's like pocket sand.
Yes, it's like pocket sand, but also you can sometimes shoot it directly onto the ice where they're skating, and that causes a speed boost. So it's almost like they puke in front of themselves, and then whoosh, they're going fast. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, advanced stats are still trying to compensate for it, But it can be assumed that the Maple Leafs won about 2.5 games more than they were expected to if they did not vomit the Maple Leafs
Yes.
Exactly.
last season. So it will be interesting to see if that trend continues.
And if other teams pick up on the tactic and what leaves they'll use.
It's very interesting.
Mhm.
When talking about leaves and eating leaves, it's important to know. I mean, when I was asked this question earlier, I talked about how I like to eat lettuce in the same way as leaves, where it's draped up in the air, almost as if I'm a prehistoric dinosaur, looking for a nice meal. So I will. Every time I eat a salad, I'll drape it up in the air and then just like extend my teeth out. Yes, exactly like that. That's exactly how I look. And I'll take a little nibble. So depending on how many nibbles I take depends on how long the meal will take.
Eventually, we're hoping to evolve to a point where our jaws come out,
Yes.
so that we can just extend our teeth
I
and
think-
grab that way.
I think that's really a negative about how humans have evolved. We don't
We
have
can't extend our teeth.
Yes, we don't have opposable jaws. We can't use our jaws to pick up things.
I want to be like Alien. I want little teeth to munch on my salad for me.
Yes, I agree. Now, moving to the sky, what do you guys like the sky?
Oh, I love the sky. The sunsets.
The sky
That's good.
confuses me.
What would you say confuses you about the sky?
It's just like it's
Why
there.
is it? Why blue?
That's a good question.
I mean, I understand the blue. I just don't understand the sky thing.
When
Is it like a ceiling that retracts at night? Like I don't get it.
That is an interesting point. I think it's hard to figure out where does the sky end and where does the sky begin. Are we in the sky right now?
To an ant, are we in the sky?
I ask myself these questions every night, and so far I have lost hope of ever answering them.
And also, why are clouds shaped different ways? Sometimes they look like human things, and that makes me scared.
They know. They know too much about us. We need to stop giving our information to the cloud.
You're right. I think
You're right. I think that's it.
I think that's a major issue, is that the cloud is sending up all our photos, and then that way the cloud is reading our photos, and they can tell what we like and look like, so they are able to form what we look like and they're multiplying.
The other day, I saw a photorealistic dog in a cloud.
Really?
Yes.
What was his name?
Fido.
How'd you know that?
They had a name tag and everything.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, ethical concerns have been getting out about if clouds can eventually start to produce deep fakes. You see your friend up in the sky, and you go to chase him, but it's not him, but you fall because you can't get up there, and people can get hurt from that.
Yes. I have also seen certain occasions where the clouds will look like money with a little fishing pole attached. So the fishing pole will reel in the money, and the person will be running after it, but it's just a cloud.
There's been a lot of increase in crime with fog recently, pretending to be people.
Yes.
I mean, I heard a story of someone who went into the fog and thought that they were talking to a Nigerian prince who wanted to give them money, but they needed a small loan to get out of jail. And unfortunately, it was just fog, and the fog stole the money, and now it's gone.
That's a story we hear way too much here at NPR. This just in. Okay. Oh, I'm hearing that Simon Cowell just got the golden buzzer, so he's pushed on to the final round of voting for
That's great.
our next mascot. So I think that's a good update for that. Do we have any other updates for our past mascots?
Terrence has officially dropped out due to the fracking scandal.
Oh. Did he have any? Did he have any closing statements?
His last statement was, it turns out fracking bad. My bad. See you guys next election.
Is still in the race. Is just not conceding, even though is only on write-in ballots. And many do not know that they have the write-in option, and fewer know that is an option that they have with the write-in ballots.
Yes.
So it's a waiting game, but it's not looking good for.
Yeah, and okay. This just in. Rudy's still fucking, so that's good. That's good for Rudy. We'll
good old Rudy.
We'll keep an eye on that as situations go forward. Yeah. So, do we want to move on to our next story?
As well.
All right. Italy.
What about it?
Italy. It's just Italy. What?
Mamma mia.
Here I go again.
My.
How can I forget you?
Mamma mia.
Does it show again?
My.
How much I really miss you.
That's sweet. That's a very nice story. I feel like that was a
very good poetry.
Heartwarming story from Italy. In between all this scary and uncertain news.
Yes.
I think.
Sure.
I think an aspect that we need to talk about is, I think, just One Direction in general. Like, I think we brought up the scariness of how they could influence Newstime, but we haven't discussed really in what ways or what kind of influence they could have on this election.
The Directioners are certainly a dedicated bloc, but many are not eligible to vote in the election, as boy bands traditionally do not promote voter registration. So we will have to see if enough of them got registered in time to make a difference. But it's possible that nothing will come of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good discussion on Directioners. What about Erectioners? More particularly those with rigid erections that won't go away.
They need to call their doctor.
That's true.
After 4 hours, you're supposed to.
And then what about electioners? Those who try to elect. I think a lot of people get confused between erectioners and electioners, and directioners, as they're all very close in name.
Yes. Quirks of the language.
Yep. English language is a fun place to live.
Do we want to go to a question from a viewer?
We can.
Now, this is a weird question. If you guys were able to sneeze out chocolate chip cookies, would you, and they were like perfectly good chocolate chip cookies, would you eat them? Like, let's say you could sneeze them out and there'd be nothing on them. They'd be perfectly fine. What would you guys do? Would you go to a doctor? Would you eat them?
I'd be scared first.
Yes.
But then I'd be like, oh shit, free cookie. Might as well. Like, if it's the size of a famous cookie,
Hmm.
like, that's perfect. Like,
No, what if it's cookie cake size?
oh, cookie cake? Absolutely not. First of all,
Well,
cookie cake size,
interesting. Not a fan of cookie
that's
cake.
just too big. No.
Now you
There's
see,
something about the texture and the quality of it. It's just not a cookie.
Have you had a homemade cookie cake?
I have not.
No, that's where you're missing out. What were you gonna say, Brooke?
Now I have a personal answer to this question. I used to have a deviated septum, and I had it corrected, and I'm just wondering, would the cookies force the septum to deviate once again? Because I would not like to have to pay for that surgery again.
They would not.
Very fair.
Would they be warm?
Would you want them warm?
I love myself a warm chocolate chip cookie.
Then
Oh,
yes,
just so
there's a little setting. In the setting, you can trigger by going like that, and that turns it to warm or cold.
Yeah. But your
I
nose
mean,
twice. And there it is.
would they be hard? Would they be chewy?
That's a different setting. That's you gotta do that.
I feel like that's
If I have that much customization, then I think I absolutely would.
Interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting. I agree with both of you guys. I would 100% eat the chocolate chip cookies that came directly out of my nostrils, as long as they're clean, as long as they're clear. But I feel like that's
as long as they're translucent.
As long as they're perfectly translucent, I will eat them. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on aliens?
Oh, for sure. I want them to probe me.
Interesting. In what way? Because we know
all the ways.
We know that they could possibly get to my ass.
They could get to my ass.
And if they were, they might already be on my ass.
Honestly,
I
would not put it past them.
They could be. Honestly, there are a lot of theories that some of them are in my ass, as
inside,
inside, yeah,
formed inside the crack, yeah,
and we just can't see them yet,
Yeah, they've been hiding out there for ages, and we just haven't seen them yet.
I think aliens are probably in my ass, is I guess. Like, if I had to, just based off the studies that we have seen from
off of all the research that has been done
from ASA, that's the agency that
the National Ass Association.
Ass Association, yes, yeah. Unfortunately, named after their founder, Nathaniel Ass, as we all know.
Honestly, a very unfortunate last name.
I mean, it worked in the end.
Yeah, not as bad as his father's name, Dick Ass, but unfortunate, yeah.
Many believe that he should have gone by Richard, but I think he knew what he was doing.
I'm just very happy that he didn't name his son the same name, as it would have been.
No, he
did. Junior.
I mean, as
and
many,
that's just a whole.
As many don't bad. Know,
that's a felony.
As many don't know, he actually did name his son that. But through court appeal, he changed his name to Nathaniel Ass.
A much better choice.
He decided not to change his last name, as he wanted to keep it, but he changed his first name to Nathaniel. So
good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. I agree.
Yeah, we don't want felonies in the family line.
No.
Yeah. So, Saturn. Why does it only have one ring?
It's got multiple.
Wait, what?
It's a bunch of small rings.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Isn't every ring just consisting of a bunch of small rings on an atomic scale?
Whoa. That's crazy.
That's deep.
That's very deep. It's almost as deep as the largest.
What are we other than atomic structures with rings?
It's very deep, almost as deep as the largest crater on my ass.
My ass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It
almost
goes
all
way
the way
down in there.
It does. It does. And we really don't know what's down there. We haven't explored it well enough.
We need to do some more probing.
Yeah.
That's where the aliens are helping us.
Yep.
Yes.
They're giving us all the information that they have on my ass
They
and all the topographical maps that they have.
they build to go where no one's gone before.
Yeah.
If you guys were to make a brand similar to Chef Boyardiaz's, one of the running mates, what would you say you would make your brand for canned meatballs and ravioli? What would you name it, and what would be the mascot?
I mean, we all know and love Bajupi's restaurant.
Bajupi's restaurant.
That sadly caught fire recently.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the mascot should be the cat that died in that fire. And it could just be a little charred cat.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was gonna say before or after.
Because you got that smoky taste when you eat Bajupi's.
Do you think that would send the wrong message of what is in the meatballs, or?
It could, yeah. But if we cartoonize the cat enough, I feel like it'll be good.
And what would you name it? Just Bajupi's? Bajupi's.
Yeah, I think it'd just be Bajupi's, and then
Bajupi's. Okay.
Whatever it is.
That would be the slogan. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's a good slogan.
Yeah, that's nice.
What it is.
Bajupi's. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Even with that slogan, I'm still very sketched out that there might be some cat in the meatballs.
There might be cat. There might be people.
As you're going, I mean, whatever it is. Whatever it is.
Whatever
in the meatballs.
Whatever it is. It's edible.
Whatever it is, it's edible. Yeah. Dang.
That's really all we need.
That's very true.
I personally would name my brand Canned. So you would pick up some canned ravioli, some canned spaghetti and meatballs, and the mascot would just be a can, and it would be like an Inception thing where it just keeps getting smaller and smaller cans on the can. I think people would get a kick out of that.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, that would do well.
I think I would go with my mascot would just be a meatball, and my whole slogan would be meatballs. So
that's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, so you're eating meatballs, balls, but they're like meatballs, balls. You know.
Meat.
Yep.
So it's so like when kids would see it, they'd be like, "Oh, I want to eat meatballs. I want to eat meat."
Now, in some states, that is considered a felony.
You were doing pretty well there. I was impressed.
I just couldn't get it out. I want to eat meatballs. There we go. I said it. That would be my slogan.
That whole thing, just on the side of a can.
Yes. Even with the break where I was laughing, that would also be in there too.
It's in subtitles.
It is in subtitles, yeah. It says through laughter, and then it has that slogan.
Yes.
Do you guys have any other news topics or any news stories that seem urgent that we should cover?
No.
I've been thinking about roofs a lot. How's your roof doing?
The issue with my roof is that I never see it. You know, I only know it's there. So like they always say like, oh, we have to put a roof over everyone's head, but like, what about the surrounding walls? No one ever talks about that. And if there's no walls for the roof, it's just gonna fall down on those people, and that's not good either. What are your thoughts on roofs, Milo? Do you have any?
I think roofs are overrated. I think we should just live in open air canopies.
Interesting.
Leaves can honestly catch most of the rain or snow.
Yeah, and you just got your food
might
source
fall.
there too.
If the foliage is dense enough, then we're basically fine.
Yeah, you got your food source too when the leaves start falling. It's just like
exactly
right there. Don't even need anything. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thought of not having roofs. But what I would like to add is that there's no doors.
Ventilation is so much better without a roof.
I would also like to add that there's no more doors and there's no way out. So that's what I would like to add to that. Like it's just a box that you're in, but like, and the only way you can get out is when it rains.
How big is the box?
How big do you want it to be?
10 feet.
Okay.
I don't want to be able to get out.
Okay, so it's 10 feet tall. How wide do you want it to be?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay, how about
as long as I can
I'll make
stand.
it. I'll make it 10 by 10.
Oh yeah, that's a good size.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll be standing in there, and the only way you can get out is if it rains a lot, so that way you can float to the top. But otherwise, you're stuck in there, and your only source of food is leaves. That's what I would say.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Also, I would like to bring.
Sounds like a good weekend.
I would like to bring up something. I know this is a little off topic, but why are the three little piggies so fucking dumb? They're building a house out of hay.
Like, that's not gonna work.
I would criticize. I would criticize the big bad wolf on that one specifically, because the house being out of hay. I mean, you just got to set that thing on fire and you got some bacon. He was hungry at the end, and he could have had food from the beginning.
And he could have just instead of blowing it down, he could have just lit that shit on fire and say la vie.
And the interesting thing is that if there's a brick house and you're like, let's do hay houses first, let's just start with hay houses. When there's a wolf that has a strong blowing ability, why do that? That's just a thought I had.
Hubris.
It'd be so cool. Mm-hmm. Hay. Let's make a house out of hay, and then, but that there's like a big wind threat, and you're like, it'll be fine.
How'd that house stay up anyways?
It's a good question. A lot of willpower. What was the second house even made out of?
Stones? Sticks.
Sticks. Straw. Something break.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think that I think the hay house is just a metaphor for the fools who continually build in Tornado Alley. I think we can learn a lot from this children's tale about building in
Oklahoma,
responsible locations.
Yes, not Oklahoma, as most would say.
Yes.
Oklahoma should just be destroyed. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
That's very true.
I mean, even the ones...
What do you think the first person who saw a tornado thought? Because I personally, I'd be like, fuck.
They're probably like, whew, that's a lot of wind. I hope I'm going to be okay.
A spinny wind? Shit.
They were like, wind can spin like that? Wow.
That's amazing.
Do you think anyone has a tornado fetish?
I mean, if it exists, if you can think of it,
excluding me, there's probably at least 3 more.
I think Rudy the Rabbit. I mean, he's into a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, he likes a lot of stuff.
He has to be. I mean, with a sex drive that high, shit gets boring after a while.
Yeah. And I think what was really interesting about his campaign is him listing all of his kinks in order alphabetically. I thought that was a very interesting point, because we've seen
he's still going.
Yes, and we've seen other candidates list their kinks, but never alphabetically, and it's always a pain to sort through all of them like that. And specifically with Simon Cowell's list, that took a bit to sort through. Yeah, I think we should get back to the roofs topic though. I feel as though there's so many different kinds of roofs. Terracotta, slate, tin roofs. There's
cats on them.
There's cats on
Cat on a hot tin roof. I actually have that book right next to me.
There's fiddlers. There's fiddlers on the roofs as well.
Yeah, and you can make a roof out of fiddles.
I think one of the biggest issues...
How do they get up there?
Yeah, one of the biggest issues is, how do we get these fiddlers off our roofs? Because every night I hear a fiddler up on the roof, just fiddling away with his fiddle.
Munching on the roof.
I think many fiddlers find themselves in the bluegrass tradition, or classic. It can be another name for a violin. I think by blasting uh, hardcore techno music, they might be disgusted with your musical tastes, and will come down to try and turn it off, and then you can throw a net over them to keep them restrained on the ground.
Interesting. I never thought about the net aspect. I think that's very interesting. What about like maybe some form of like a trap or like a bear trap that I would put on my roof? I know that's more specifically for bears, but I feel like if a fiddler stepped into it, maybe it would break his leg. But that was just an assumption. I don't know if I would need a specific fiddler trap or what that would be.
I think. I mean, if you break the leg, I don't think the fiddler will come down. The fiddling will stop, but the fiddler is going to kind of just stay up there for
interesting.
They could crawl back to their fiddle and just keep playing as their legs are broken.
Yeah, so I would probably need some way to break their arms. How do I break a fiddler's arms?
Cannonball.
Oh, interesting. But how would I, if it's just a trap, because I don't want to be on the roof 24/7 like
a cannon.
Yeah, but how would
you just wait to hear the violin? And
like a remote? Is it a remote cannon, or am I up on the roof?
You're sitting underneath the roof, and you're just gonna fire through the roof.
I'm firing straight. Okay, I see.
If you miss, you fucking kill him by falling. So
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
If anything, the violin will stop for a little bit out of shock.
What do you guys think of roofs of hotels having pools on top of them? What are your thoughts on that? Because that's a very interesting type of roof.
I mean, I think you're gonna see leakage unless you insulate well. And frankly, for me, I don't like water damage. So,
see, I think that's where we differ. Is I'm a big fan of water damage. I think it's necessary in every person's life to at least see some water damage. So, I would like it if the pool actually broke and fell through the floor of the roof. I think that'd be interesting, like a little water slide all the way down to the bottom. Could be a fun little time,
Waterfall.
We already have the name. Dang, that's very interesting. If you guys had to become one type of roofing, what type of roofing would you become? Or what type of roofing do you think fits your personality most?
I think thatch is good for me.
Interesting.
I just love the color of terracotta roofing. Beautiful.
Yeah, you're definitely terracotta roofing, if I had to say.
What about you?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I think maybe like a tin roof would be interesting. I feel like, something as that.
Corrugated roofing.
Yes. Or even, as I said before, the pool roof, the one that just has a pool on top. I think that would be an interesting one to be. I think that's probably fits who I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Very much so.
For sure.
I agree with that statement that you just said.
I mean, I'm gonna have to differ on that point.
Okay.
I drew a smiley face.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
If you turn that upside down, though, what would it be?
A mushroom.
A mushroom. And that's subtle advertising for
Two
Rudy
people
the
sitting
Rabbit.
under an umbrella.
You're subtly advertising for Rudy the Rabbit. That's what you're doing.
This is very true.
It is well known
as we all know, Rudy the Rabbit is very keen on legalizing drugs.
Yes.
And he also has a mushroom dick.
Yes,
Gotcha.
that's mainly what I was referring to. But also, I think it was a good point that you brought up there with the legalizing mushrooms that Rudy wants to do.
He can't get enough of those those plants and fungi. So, you know,
Yeah, well, he is a fun guy himself, you know.
that he is.
But
Have any of you spent any significant amount of time with Rudy?
I have not.
No.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him in person yet.
Yeah, I think most of the time he's just fucking, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'll call him up, be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And then like he won't answer, and I'm just talking to his voicemail. I don't realize it until I'm already like 20 minutes in talking to his voicemail. Like I think it's him.
He has a long voicemail message.
He really does.
Yeah. I'm just responding back to his voicemail message. And the most embarrassing part is I've done that 20 times in the past few days, mainly from a combination of loneliness and also stupidity. But it was mainly those two things that made me leave that many messages to him. Still haven't gotten back to me, but I know he's a very busy rabbit as he's running for election. So,
yes.
Would we like to do some final election news,
Yeah,
saying what's going on where the ballots
let's do some
are?
updates.
Okay.
It looks like let me see. It looks like right now the ballots. Oh no, they're still streaming in. It looks like it looks like every single ballot cast was in Nevada.
Of course.
So that might take a little bit of time.
As we know, Nevada can't count.
We do have a few ballots in right now, upward of 3. One for another for Simon Cowell, and lastly one for Rudy. We will see. We will update you on this, I think, in the next episode. Do you guys have any other parting words or news about the election?
Good luck to all the remaining candidates. Terrence will be getting high. If you do want to join him on a Skype call, he does not know how to use Zoom. So.
Yes, and that's a town hall, right?
It's a town hall. Everybody brings their own weed. It's a good time.
But it's virtual, so I mean, everyone kind of has to bring their own if it's virtual.
Yeah.
Simon.
Very true.
I've received word that has made a statement on the count so far. And we'll have to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very profound. You know.
Yeah.
I think we all have something to learn from. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of Newstime Public Radio. Thank you to our sponsors again. Brooke, would you like to take it with our sponsors?
Newstime Public Radio is brought to you by viewers like you. Except you. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Newstime Public Radio is also sponsored by Rufus the Bobcat. He is scared that we are infringing on his mascot territory, and he would like for us to know that. So thank you for that donation message, Rufus. Newstime Public Radio is also brought to you by people who say poggers, unironically.
Yes. They actually fund the majority of our content, if you think about it.
They really do.
Yeah.
And lastly, Newstime Public Radio is brought to you by the letter E.
Ooh.
Is
there a word of the day, or is it just letter E?
E.
E.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.